How can print journalism survive in the digital era?
I think that the audience is changing really fast, and the future for print is to try and capture these smaller, more boutique audiences who are still willing to pay for the tactile feel of a print product and the depth that it's going to give them. So I suspect in the long term we'll see daily newspapers start to struggle, but weekend publications and boutique publications lasting longer, perhaps with a bigger cover price, a smaller range of content but higher quality. So I think Sunday newspapers have a future. Publications like the NBR probably have a future, but your standard daily newspaper may not be around in 10 years' time.
What print model will have the longest lifespan?
Really hope that it will be weekend journalism. I think that's demonstrates the best of what print has to offer, which is really good long form stories about subjects you may not realise you're interested in until we brought them to your attention, and good investigative breaking stories that are off diary. I think that's that mix of stuff that other mediums can't offer. But
What ways can print journalism and digital coexist?
it's become increasingly apparent to me that stories have to work in both platforms. I think in the past journalists would see themselves as filing through the print or digital. I think we need to be less worried about the platform than the story itself, and making that story accessible to as many readers as possible. So in terms of print, that probably means changing stylistically a little bit what we do with print and making the stories a bit sharper and snappier. I think for digital it's being aware that that story has got to find a second life the next day.
How can the written media adapt to the changing appetite and attention spans of the modern reader?
I think that's probably the biggest question facing us now. There's a generation coming through who haven't read newspapers, haven't grown up with newspapers. They get all their news online, and not only that, there appears to be a change in how they find the way to that news. They don't come in through the front door. They come in through the recommendations of their friends on Facebook feeds and Twitter feeds. So they're getting almost a warped view of what's going on in the world, and I think there's possibly a reduction of general knowledge as a result, because they aren't getting that rounded view that previous generations got by reading the newspaper cover to cover. So we need to find new ways of keeping that audience with us for longer and making them read more stories rather than ducking in and out. But that is a generational shift at work, and there is a fear that people's attention spans are decreasing over time, which just, I suppose, means that your journalism's got to be even better to capture the eye and even sharper in what it does. But it's an ongoing challenge for the industry.